Started off on Twitch here and YouTube playing catch up as per usual. So we'll go ahead and start things off for Twitch at the very least and keeping an eye on the forecast into the weekend. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Let me just double check audio for right now to make certain that we are getting where we need to be. Okay, so far so good. This is the first time audio's behaved itself in the last couple of days. And let's just double check what's going on YouTube here real quick. Hopefully, again, things very quiet for you. That looks to be some good news there. Okay, we are good to go. So for tonight, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onick. It is Friday, the 6th of September. The first full weekend of September coming up, and again into tonight. No major problems being seen. For those of you who are just joining us on Twitch or YouTube, if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat function on either YouTube or Twitch. We'd love to know what you're seeing, what you're saying out there. Check in, say hi, what's your location, what it is, what's the weather like where you're looking at, and we'll go from there. Should be, again, a decent weekend coming up. We'll talk more about the forecast here in just a little bit. We don't have any problems where rain is concerned, unfortunately, and that's part of the big problem that we've got for right now, because no rainfall today officially. 0.02 for the last week, essentially 0.7 of an inch behind on rain for the month of September. So already we're very dry, and for the year itself, by tomorrow at this time, we will be 9 inches behind on rainfall. And if everything works, our next best chance of rain is coming up well into next week, and even then it's not looking like a lot, so we could use a lot of help where the rain is concerned. We need 9 inches just to catch up to what we need at this point just to break even, and that's going to be a lot right there. Currently, so far so good. Traffic a little heavy for Friday night, but doing pretty good at 153 and 64. This is over toward south central Chattanooga, looking off toward the south and west on the Plainview Outdoor Advertising Camera, all on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network. Temperature at the airport just on the right-hand side of this picture, back to the upper 70s. And winds out of the south at about 3 miles per hour or so. A little bit more humidity, not doing too bad for now. We were seeing some scattered showers out across areas south of Tennessee line and Chattanooga. We do have some more storms coming in from the north and from the west, none of which are severe. But as we look back where this front is making its way through, there are some thunderstorms around Nashville down I-40 to Jackson, Tennessee, and that is moving our direction. So we might see the potential of some more rumbles of thunder probably in the next 3 to 4 hours as this moves into around the area of Grundy, Sequatchie, Bledsoe, Ray, and Marion counties first. Best chance of anything involving heavier weather will be back to the west as that front comes on through. Notice they're also pushing to the south, so that means the front is leading the edge right here, and we should be seeing that come through in the course of the next couple of hours. I doubt we're going to get too much in the way of moisture out of this. What we have in the way of temperatures, comfortable 60s and 70s going toward 10 o'clock Friday evening. Beautiful Friday night. Again, it's a little bit more humid out there. The really warm air is well back to our north, where it's still 81 in Nashville even after those showers and thunderstorms rolled on through. Everybody else in the 60s, well, a few 80s up toward Charleston and West Virginia, but beyond that, again, little of anything taking place. What we do have is our next front on the way through. This is going to be sitting just northwest of us for tonight. Again, it's right on top of Nashville as we record this at about 10 o'clock Eastern time. What we are going to be expecting is for this front to be making its way through the area, heading down toward the south and the east. So this is going to be running into a lot of that moisture-rich air, and that is being driven northward by areas of low pressure. This one, the National Hurricane Hurricane Center was watching to see if anything was going to develop out of the tropics. And this one, we'll talk about the tropics in just a little bit. This one helping to stir that moisture up and push it up on shore, and that's where our chances of rain were coming from. Most of that sticking around portions of the Gulf Coast and the southeast United States. Next couple of days, we'll be seeing the best potential of rainfall from the Carolinas back into the northern rim of the Gulf. Not looking at a huge amount of rainfall for us, to say the least. We're kind of right here, again, Chattanooga, the News 12 viewing area, and as we go into the next several days, best potential of rain, coastal Carolinas, Florida, and the northern Gulf Coast area, where we could be looking at about another maybe 3 to 4 inches of rainfall possible in some of these locations. So it is a potential problem that we could see some very heavy rainfall coming down into this direction. Can I help you with anything, or?
Yeah, looking at the rain forecast.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, just checking it. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Sorry. Cooper Allen, one of our production department people, checking in and keeping an eye on the rainfall graphic there. So nice to have somebody stop by in the studio for just a little bit anyway to see what's going on. What we also have is, again, the dry air on approach, very much on the moisture-rich side, very humid for the time being. But as we go into tomorrow, you can see that front start to make its way through, and then the air really starts to change as that drier air makes its way over the Appalachians and also sits across much of the Tennessee River Valley, and that gives us some very good amounts of dry air, very comfortable across much of the area through the weekend. So I doubt we're going to have too many problems for outdoors. Sunblock might not be a bad idea for Saturday and Sunday for that matter as well, but we're not looking at too much in the way of anything involving rainfall. What we will be looking for next week, the cooler air recedes and the warmer air comes in from the south and the west, and that's going to start to increase our temperatures as we go into the middle part of the month. Not looking at a huge amount of heat. Good news on that again for now, but it will be noticeably warmer into the course of the next several days. So the 7-day forecast, quiet on Lake Chickamauga, not much of a breeze here looking off toward the west, where usually we have a pretty good sunset. It was beautiful earlier tonight, but not getting much of anything in the way of picturesque conditions for right now. With the approach of that front, it may be breezy overnight, starting off with cloud cover on Saturday, going toward lots of sunshine into the rest of the weekend, and very pleasant on the temperatures, back in the lower to mid 80s. Warming up into midweek, high 80s to right about 90 degrees. 88 is about our normal high temperature for this time of the year. Then back into the lower 80s toward the end of the week, and then we see more chances of showers and thunderstorms. Now, yesterday, the forecast was calling for a 40% chance on Tuesday or Thursday of next week. That has now been cut in half. So it's a good possibility that by the time we get this chance of showers and thunderstorms on this side of the forecast toward next week, it's a good possibility we're going to lose a lot of this potential of rainfall, just like what we saw with tonight's chance of rain last week. So again, it looks good now, but in the next several days, as this gets closer to us, confidence is not high in regards to what we might see in the way of rainfall. It'd be nice, but just not seeing anything like that for us at this time. So if you have plans for outdoors, most of the week looks pretty good. All right, I want to talk more about what's going on in the short term for the area off to the west. This was an area that the Hurricane Center was keeping an eye on. No longer an interest in this one, because it's pretty much goose eggs on anything developing there. This particular system, such as it is, again, it looks very much on the small and disorganized side, now up to a 20% chance where it was 10% last forecast a few hours ago, and it's moving into an area here which might see, again, the potential for right now. This is where we see the possibility of more chance of showers into around and thunderstorms developing. Could this be something? It's possible. But for right now, again, I just don't see too much of anything really coming our direction from this. But here's an important note. We are approaching the peak of hurricane season next week, Monday, if I'm not mistaken, 7, 8, 9, Tuesday. Sorry about that. Next Tuesday, September the 10th, is the middle point of the season between June 1st and December the 1st. That is hurricane season in the Atlantic. So that gives us the potential for anything to happen at this point. Now, getting a little closer to our side of the hemisphere, this is where, let me reschedule something here real quick. Regionally, this again was a system that the Hurricane Center was watching not too long ago. A goose egg chance in getting anything out of this particular system. So not much of anything happening here. But as we zoom out a little farther, this next system, again, we're way up here. This next system that is about to roll over the Yucatan Peninsula and head into the Bay of Campeche, this is our next system to really watch. This one has a 50% chance of developing. This has an invest or an investigation number already attached to it at this time. This is Invest 90L, and this one looks like, for right now, don't have the graphic monitored here, but it looks like it's going to be hugging the coastline very well and then heading up somewhere between, say, Brownsville and Houston. So Corpus Christi down the Texas Gulf Coast, that's going to be the main target zone, and then possibly curving up to the north and to the east. That is going to be our next definite one to watch weather maker at this time. That will be, if it does begin to get closer to strong conditions out there, that will be the F storm, the F named storm, which is Francine. So we'll see how well that goes. But if you're planning on traveling anywhere from Brownsville, Corpus Christi, Houston, Galveston, Lake City, over toward the Crescent City, this is an area you are going to have to watch, because as of right now, we want to see very good ahead of schedule planning. If you're going to be heading anywhere in this particular area, you're going to have to watch and see what goes on. And again, you don't want to be heading into an area where you might have to turn back around again and head right back out of. So could be the F named storm here. This is something that we really need to watch. The next storm system of note, and hopefully nothing becomes of this, but remember that the waters of the Gulf are so incredibly warm that this, after it moves over the peninsula there, we could see a development very, very quickly. So let's pay attention to what's going on. Add to that, in the next several days into the middle part of next week, we see that area, again, a good possibility of redevelopment here, and even more potential out to the west of that. Now, in week 3, toward the middle part and late part of the month, that's where we see a downturn. Again, this is week 2. We've got a little bit more cherry red in there. And then week 3, it calms down a little bit, but it really does look like we're going to have to monitor this as we start to see more potential of these storms continuing to form at this time of the year. So that's about the best that we can say for right now. Things will change, so keep it tuned to News 12 for more. All right, thank you, Jessica Waller Downs from Athens, Tennessee, for a beautiful close-up shot of a grasshopper in the hostas. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. If you've got pictures, we'd love to see them and show them for everybody to take a look at. But if you don't send them in, we really can't help you on that. So if you'd like to send stuff in, drop them to our social media pages, email them to us, or go to our website at wdef.com/photos. If you'd be able to send those in, that'd be great. And again, that's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. Want to get back into astronomy real quick. A couple of events coming up in the next couple of weeks. The first one is tomorrow, or if you're watching this on Saturday, tonight, September 7th, 7:30 to 11. Again, this is weather dependent. The Barnard Astronomical Society holding their next viewing, their next star party through the telescopes at Cloudland Canyon State Park in the Disc Golf area. That's in Rising Fawn, Georgia. The good news, again, well, for right now, the best news is this is a public science event and a good opportunity for you, your kids, your grandkids to look through the telescopes and see what is out there in the wide universe. Some amazing opportunities to take a look at things out there. If it is not good for viewing, the Barnard Astronomical Society will let you know by their social media pages. The event is free. The parking is not. Cloudland Canyon requires $5 parking fee per vehicle, but $5 for an opportunity to look through some great telescopes and learn more about the universe. That's a great opportunity. So again, that is tomorrow, or if you're watching on Saturday, tonight, September the 7th, 7:30 to 11. More information at their website at barnardastronomy.org. Now, also coming up next week, Saturday night, the 14th, is International Observe the Moon Night. That'll be at Greenway Farm, also from Barnard Astronomical Society. If you'd like to check in more about that, and if you'd like to look at the moon through a telescope, which you have never done before, if I'm not mistaken, this is also the full Hunter's moon, and it is also going to be a super moon, so a good opportunity to look through the telescope at our moon and see things really great. Prepare to have your mind blown on that one. International Observe the Moon Night. What's the big deal about observing the moon? I can do that any night or any morning when the moon is out, so big deal. Well, it is, because this is an event designed to promote and get people interested in astronomy. Go out and take a look at what's going on with the moon, with the night sky, develop more of an interest in astronomy, a great opportunity to learn more. So please take advantage of this. Again, that's next week, the 14th, 7 to 11 p.m., Greenway Farm in Hickson, Tennessee. More information at barnardastronomy.org if you would like to check in with that. For tonight, let's see. We already did the picture of the day. What else? Oh, yes. Let's do our web poll of the day, if I can find that back without getting too messed around here. Thank you very much, friendinroofing.com, for being our web poll of the day. Astronomical seasons happen on the solstice or the equinox, and they are astronomical in nature because that's where the sun is at its lowest or highest point in the sky, depending on what time of the year it is. Our ancestors used to mark calendars with great big stone circles so they could tell when it was time to plant, when it was time to harvest, all kinds of things like that. Well, that's astronomical seasons. Meteorological seasons are a little bit different. They start on the first of the month, where the month changes over between seasons. And they do that so that climatologists, meteorologists, researchers can keep an eye on the changes as the seasons switch over. It's a much more efficient way of doing things. But it's a meteorological season, not an astronomical season. So, for instance, fall begins September 22nd, in about another 2 weeks, give or take. 15th, I believe that's on a Sunday morning.